I think it's time to move on from John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and that definitely hurts to say, and I'm not saying it because I think John Jones should fight somebody else. No, I think John Jones versus Tom Aspinall is the best fight you can make at heavyweight. It will be maybe one of the only times I've actually thought that John Jones has fought an opponent better than him or has better attributes than him. Because in every other John Jones fight, there's always been some asterisks around, in my opinion, whether it be super undersized guys. Because let's be honest, he beat a lot of champions, but he didn't really beat anybody I think is that crazy at light heavyweight in a lot of his early stuff. Because you have guys like, and all these guys I think are good, but none of them are great, and that's why it's going to come to a very big hot take. One, we can start with he's beaten guys like Rampage Jackson, who is good, but I mean, not really amazing. Shogun Hua, he's pretty decent. Lyoto Machida, he's okay. He's beaten Gustafsson, and I know Gustafsson's good, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, he's good, and he's one of the best light heavyweights, and I guess fighters in UFC to not win a title. But I don't know. I think he's lost to enough guys that I don't think it's that impressive anymore. And then you got to talk about when he came back to light heavyweight. That was a pitiful run because did he even finish Ovince St. Preux? I don't remember if he did, or if he did, it was in the 4th or 5th round, which is crazy. I don't know how you're taking that dude to the 4th or 5th round. As well, speaking of how are you not finishing this guy, not finishing Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith could have taken a freaking DQ win off of you and would have given you a loss, but he didn't, and you still couldn't finish him. Is the crazy part to me. He barely beat Thiago Santos, who literally his knee exploded. I think it was both his fucking knees exploded. So you literally had a guy who didn't have legs, and you couldn't finish him. And there were some arguments that you lost that fight. Personally, I thought John Jones won that fight, but I think that there was enough of an argument that I think that's sad that there's an argument. And then he clearly lost to Dominic Reyes. I'm just going to be honest. He clearly lost to Dominic Reyes, and he lost when John Jones fans' biggest defense is, oh, well, if it would have gone to a 6th round, he would have won. That's never been a fight rule. Never in the history of the UFC has a fight gone to the 6th round. That is, you're making up new rules to argue that John Jones would win. That's how you know he lost. Then his heavyweight run right now, I don't think his time at heavyweight has done anything for his career because, yes, he has a title, but who did he beat? Who did he beat to get it? He beat Cyril Gane, coming off one win against Tai Tuivasa. That win's aged amazingly. On very short notice, right after Francis Ngannou was stripped of the title, so clearly, John Jones was waiting for Francis Ngannou to leave because he did not want to fight Francis Ngannou, which adds more asterisks to his career on why he doesn't want to fight certain opponents because he knows that he has a high chance of losing to them. And then he beats Stipe Miocic. And yes, Stipe is good. I think he should be in the UFC Hall of Fame. Not a 43-year-old fighter who's been hasn't fought since I think 2021, 2020 or 2021. I want to say 2021. Beats him, takes him to the 4th round. That's actually embarrassing that you couldn't finish him sooner. And now he's ducking the freaking interim title holder who's held for, I think, over 500 days. That's insane. That means John Jones has spent most of his time as champion being a disputed champion. And that's crazy. They have the same number of title defenses, and it's actually insane. I just don't think John Jones is going to fight because he doesn't want to jeopardize losing. And I think in this regard, he's also just ruining his career even more because now it's going to put the magnifying glass all over his career. Because people are now looking at it here because if we're looking at it, I genuinely don't think his wins are that amazing. Yes, are his performances against him amazing? Yes, I think he's got some really good ones. His win over Lyoto Machida is really good. I'm trying to think of some others. His first win over Daniel Cormier is pretty good because even though obviously Daniel's a very undersized guy, actually that's an understatement, bloated, still a really good fighter, he didn't lose to any other guy at light heavyweight, so I'll give him that for the first one. It was a competitive fight, in my opinion. I think that's one thing people kind of choose to ignore is that fight was competitive, but John Jones clearly won it. And then obviously the second fight happens, and he tests positive for steroids, and he also manages to get a dominant head kick KO. So, what else can you say? And then just thinking about it here, he's been calling out freaking Daniel for a fucking trilogy, saying he'd beat him even faster at heavyweight. And I'm like, Daniel's like in his late 40s, and he's been retired. Like, fight the guys in your division. It's crazy what Jon Jones has do. And I think it just also falls into my opinion that if you truly are the GOAT, you don't have to argue on Twitter with every negative comment to prove that you are the GOAT. Because if you know you're the GOAT, you shouldn't have to comment on every single thing. You shouldn't have to constantly be trying to prove yourself. I think a good example of this is like Demetrius Johnson and George St. Pierre. I personally think George St. Pierre is the current MMA GOAT, like UFC GOAT. I think Islam Makhachev has a good chance of surpassing that, depending on his performances, how he ends his career, all of that. And I've never seen George St. Pierre have to hop on Twitter to defend his spot in the GOAT conversation. There's people who don't think he's the GOAT, which is perfectly fine to think that. I've never once seen him even comment on it there, and I think that's what gives him better standing as a GOAT contender than Jon Jones. And personally right now, I would rather they just strip Jon Jones and give Tom Aspinall the undisputed title, because he's basically been the champion for 555 days, I think is what it said. So I think just make him the champion and move on. I don't care what Jon Jones does after that, because if he's not fighting Tom Aspinall, I don't care who he fights. I don't care if he fights Alex Pereira. If Alex Pereira beats Magomed Ankalaev in a rematch and then decides he wants to go up to heavyweight, or Jon Jones somehow can get down to light heavyweight if they want to fight, I don't care. I genuinely don't have no interest in that fight. I don't care if Jon Jones beats Alex Pereira. That means nothing to me. Tom Aspinall, I think, has a good shot at being the heavyweight GOAT, at least, because he already has one title defense. He's avenged his only loss in the UFC, which was a freak injury loss. So either way, he's avenged that loss. Just fights unlike any other fighter in the UFC with speed, precision, and has power. Because I definitely think the speed and precision is the one thing that Jon Jones is afraid of. Just because this dude is bigger than him, is well-rounded. Let's not forget he submitted Alexander Volkov. That's one thing to remember. And I personally just think if we want a new matchup, Jon Jones versus having a normal life, I guess, because he clearly can't stay home with his wife and kids. Maybe that's for the best. I don't know. And then for Tom Aspinall, I guess give him Ciryl Gane. They haven't fought each other. And then you promote Tom Aspinall to undisputed title so that we can get a title defense against Ciryl Gane as the champion. Or if Ciryl Gane somehow wins, he gets the belt. No more interim title bullshit. It's already demeaning everything about the UFC. I don't think Dana White can promote or get these fighters to fight. And this, I think, has negative repercussions for however much longer Dana White is the UFC president, because we've now seen a fight he can't make. And it's in one of those where it's not Francis Ngannou trying to leave the division or Nate Diaz trying to leave the division, where they fought to the last fight match to get at least a fight in to finish it. For Jon Jones, he just does not want to fight, and he could not get it. I don't know, and I'm gonna blame John. I'm gonna blame both evenly, because Dana White gassed up Jon Jones for about half the year, and then was surprised that Jon Jones didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, and also Jon Jones on just being a coward who wants, what did he say, 30 million, which is absurd pricing, especially for him, who I personally don't think he sells that much in comparison. He definitely sells good, but it's solely on his status as the world champion. And I think if he lost instantly, he sells nothing, because he does not have any personality. He's not interesting. It's just bad. But that's really it for me. Bye.